This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Today, Mexico falls out with the US and Canada. A Pacific Island police pact is agreed, and Donald Trump faces a fresh indictment. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 28th of August, 2024. Our main story today is that Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, more commonly known as AMLO, is halting diplomatic relations with the US and Canadian embassies after their ambassadors criticised his proposed judicial overhaul plan. The judicial overhaul plan, suggested by AMLO in what are his final weeks in office, is part of a package of constitutional changes he has been seeking and which are yet to be approved. On Monday, a congressional committee approved the proposal, and it now requires a two-thirds majority in both chambers of Congress. The reforms include a range of issues in areas like pensions and the energy sector, but also include controversial judicial and institutional reforms. However, critics, namely investors and financial institutions, as well as the ambassadors of Canada and the US, have argued that these changes would weaken the separation of powers and lead to the disappearance of some independent regulatory agencies. The judicial overhaul, among other things, would see judges elected by popular vote. The US Ambassador Ken Salazar called the proposal to elect judges a major risk to the functioning of Mexico's democracy by making them subject to the corruption of politics and organised crime groups. He also warned that the proposals could endanger Mexico's commercial relationship with Washington, which is a very close one. The two countries are each other's top trading partners. AMLO rebuked Salazar's comments, saying that the US ambassador violated Mexican sovereignty. AMLO also accused Canada's ambassador, Graham Clark, of interfering with Mexico's internal affairs for expressing apprehension about the judicial proposals. In the past, AMLO has hit back at criticism of his proposed reforms, saying that he's seeking to establish constitutional rights and strengthen ideals and principles related to humanism, justice, honesty, austerity, and democracy. US Ambassador Salazar changed his tone this week, writing yesterday on X that he was open to dialogue and that the US would always work with the utmost respect for Mexico's sovereignty. Nevertheless, at a press conference yesterday, AMLO said that there will be a pause in relations, clarifying that the freeze was with the embassies from where the criticism came, not with the countries. Later on Tuesday, Mexico's foreign minister backed AMLO in a message posted on X, saying decisions about Mexico are made by Mexicans. She reiterated, however, that the relationship with friends and neighbours in North America was a priority and remained fluid and normal on a daily basis. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Sam Joel Productions, then consider joining the new TLDR membership program for just $1.99. Leaders from Pacific Island nations have agreed to a sweeping Australian-funded policing plan, seen by some as an attempt to counter growing Chinese influence in the region. The Pacific Policing Initiative, agreed at the Pacific Island Forum, will see 4 police training centres built across the region, with the first in Papua New Guinea. The plan will also create a multi-country policing force that will be able to deploy to countries in the region in the event of disasters or security crises. A coordination hub will be hosted in Brisbane, Australia, though each Pacific nation will decide themselves whether to contribute to the force, and no country will be forced to accept its assistance. The new model is designed to give Pacific Island nations a greater role in their own security. Historically, Australia and New Zealand have been the main providers of policing and security support to smaller island nations in times of crisis. But China's role has been growing, exemplified by the signing of a security pact with the Solomon Islands in the past couple of years. Asked if the new Pacific Policing Initiative meant no country would need to turn to China, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said, "This is about the Pacific family looking after Pacific security. This isn't about any other country." Donald Trump faces a revised indictment, accusing him of illegally trying to overturn his 2020 election loss, as prosecutors have narrowed their strategy following a Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. Jack Smith, the special counsel handling the case, filed a superseding indictment on Tuesday that retains the original charges, but makes considerable cuts in an attempt to respect and implement the Supreme Court's holdings. The conservative-dominated court ruled in July that former presidents, like Trump, have broad immunity from criminal prosecutions for actions within their constitutional powers as president. The new superseding indictment effectively argues that Trump acted as a private citizen and candidate, rather than president, when he attempted to overturn the election. One line, for example, reads, "The defendant had no official responsibilities related to the certification proceeding, but he did have a personal interest as a candidate in being named the winner of the election." Additionally, the revised indictment has removed allegations that during his efforts, Trump sought to pressure the US Justice Department. This has been cut, as the court ruled that Trump was immune from prosecution over his discussions with Justice Department officials. References to the likes of Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, and Sidney Powell describe them as private attorneys and private political consultants, and the revised indictment hinges on key testimony and evidence from witnesses largely outside the federal government, according to Reuters. Trump responded to the superseding indictment by calling it an effort to resurrect a dead witch hunt. The case is still unlikely to go to trial before the November presidential election. Over to the Middle East now, where a hostage kidnapped by Hamas during the October the 7th attack has returned to Israel. According to a statement from the Israeli Defense Forces, 52-year-old Qaid Farhan al-Qadi was rescued in a complex operation in southern Gaza, making him the 8th hostage retrieved by Israeli forces since the start of the war. Details of this operation haven't been released, but it's understood that al-Qadi had managed to escape his captors and was alone in an underground tunnel where he was found by Israeli troops. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said he had congratulated al-Qadi in a phone call, and that Israel was, quote, working relentlessly to return all hostages. There are still another 104 hostages being held by Hamas, including 34 who are presumed dead. Al-Qadi, who is from a Bedouin Arab village in the Rahat area of the Negev desert, worked as a security guard at Kibbutz Magen, close to the Israel-Gaza border. When he was reunited with his family, al-Qadi's brother said, "We hope that all hostages will get this moment, that they will all experience the same excitement and joy." And finally, in some uplifting news, the US National Park System has received the largest grant in its nearly 60-year history, with its head saying it will allow us to supercharge our efforts to ensure our national parks are for everyone for generations to come. The National Park Foundation, which is the official non-profit organisation of the United States National Park Service, was awarded a $100 million donation by Lilly Endowment Inc., with the money set to be used to address the challenges facing the US's more than 400 national park sites. The exact allocation of the funds is yet to be announced, but the foundation says it will be used for 4 key priority areas: inspiring the next generation of park stewards, conserving and preserving threatened park and wildlife, ensuring a world-class visitor experience, and telling a more complete story of America. Understanding these kinds of issues is really important, but also difficult. That's why TLDR is here to help you. Unfortunately though, the world's only getting more complex, especially when it comes to tech and AI. Now, I'm not qualified to teach you about that, but luckily Brilliant are. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, and AI. Brilliant is a learning platform designed to be uniquely effective. Their first principles approach helps you build understanding from the ground up. Each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving that lets you play with concepts, a method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. For instance, if you did want to learn more about the increasingly important world of tech, you might want to check out the How Technology Works courses. That runs you through everything from how computer memory works to how exactly GPS can pinpoint your location, or why some online videos buffer, and how compression enables modern streaming. And although I did throw myself under the bus earlier, now I'm not qualified to teach you about that. Jack does have a degree in computer science, and he can tell you that
These courses aren't just high quality, they're also far more interesting than the lectures I sat through. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, or click the link in the description. That way you'll get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know you came from us.